Welcome to Sacred Stories. Today, we will explore one of the most remarkable narratives from the Old Testament, Korah's rebellion. Who was Korah? Why did he rise up against Moses and Aaron? And what was the outcome of this story that profoundly impacted the people of Israel? We'll analyze every detail of this extraordinary event and understand its lessons for today. Get ready for a fascinating journey through biblical history. Who was Korah, and what was his position in Israel? Korah was a Levite, belonging to the family of Kohath, one of the subfamilies of the tribe of Levi. Since God set apart the Levites for the service of the tabernacle, the family of Kohath was entrusted with a crucial role. They were responsible for guarding and transporting the most sacred objects of the tabernacle, such as the Ark of the Covenant, the altar of incense, and the golden lampstand. These duties required reverence and obedience to divine instructions, as mishandling these sacred items would result in immediate death. Despite his prestigious position, Korah was not content. He did not see his role as a privilege but as a limitation. Korah wanted more than serving in the tabernacle. He desired the priesthood, a role exclusively reserved for the descendants of Aaron. This desire to surpass the boundaries set by God revealed the true nature of his heart: pride, ambition, and discontentment. Korah's alliance with Dathan, Abiram, and the 250 leaders. Korah knew that his rebellion would not succeed without the support of other influential leaders. He formed alliances with Dathan and Abiram, members of the tribe of Reuben, and with 250 renowned men from various tribes of Israel. This alliance showed that his revolt was not only personal but had a wider reach, involving both political and spiritual leaders of the congregation. Who were Dathan and Abiram? Dathan and Abiram, as descendants of Reuben, belonged to the tribe of Jacob's firstborn. Despite Reuben losing his birthright due to an act of dishonor against his father, Genesis 49 verses 3-4, his descendants still carried a sense of superiority. This resentment may have been a significant factor in Dathan and Abiram's decision to join Korah. They saw Moses, a leader from the tribe of Levi, as a usurper of the position that, in their view, should have been held by the tribe of Reuben. The 250 leaders, these men were princes and respected chiefs in Israel. They represented the elite of the congregation and had considerable influence over the people. By allying themselves with Korah, they gave the rebellion an appearance of legitimacy, making it even more dangerous. Korah's speech: "The entire congregation is holy." Korah's accusation. The pivotal moment of the rebellion was Korah's public confrontation against Moses and Aaron. In his accusation, Korah declared, "You have gone too far. The whole congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord?" Numbers 16:3. With these words, Korah directly challenged God's appointed leadership, insinuating that Moses and Aaron had assumed a position that should belong to everyone. The manipulation of truth. Korah used a partial truth to construct his accusation. Indeed, God had declared Israel a holy nation set apart for him, Exodus 19 verse 6. However, Korah twisted this truth to suggest that everyone had the right to perform priestly duties. He ignored that God had assigned specific roles within the people: priests descended from Aaron, Levites as their assistants, and the other tribes with distinct responsibilities. Moses' response: humility and dependence on God. Moses' reaction. When Moses heard Korah's accusations, he did not respond with anger or self-defense. Instead, he fell face down, a gesture of humility and prayer. This act showed that Moses recognized the issue as spiritual, not personal. He trusted that God, not himself, would defend his position as God's chosen leader. The proposed challenge. Moses suggested a test to demonstrate whom God had chosen to serve before him. He proposed that Korah, his followers, and Aaron bring censers filled with burning coals and incense the following day and present them at the entrance of the tent of meeting. God would respond clearly, revealing his choice. The symbolism of incense. Incense was a sacred element in Israelite worship, symbolizing worship and intercession before God. Only consecrated priests were permitted to offer incense on the altar. By accepting the challenge, Korah and his allies assumed a role God had not given them, directly challenging his authority. Moses' courage. Moses' confidence in God was evident. He knew that judgment belonged to the Lord, not to himself. By proposing the challenge, Moses revealed his total reliance on God to address the rebellion, avoiding any attempt to resolve the matter through human means. The warning to the people: stay away from the rebels. Moses' appeal. The following morning, before the test began, Moses issued an urgent warning to the people of Israel: depart from the tents of these wicked men and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be swept away with all their sins. Numbers 16:26. He knew God's judgment was imminent and supernatural, and remaining close to the rebels would endanger others. The necessary separation. Physically distancing themselves from Korah, Dathan, and Abiram's tents symbolized more than protection, it represented a spiritual separation between the righteous and the rebellious. By stepping away, the people demonstrated their rejection of the rebellion and loyalty to God. Those who stayed close would be deemed complicit in the sin and subject to the same judgment. Moses' solemn declaration. Before the judgment, Moses declared that the upcoming event would prove that God had rejected the rebellion. If these men die as all men die, or if they are visited by the fate of all mankind, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord creates something new, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into Sheol, then you shall know that these men have despised the Lord. Numbers 16:29-30. This declaration made it clear that the judgment would be a direct and extraordinary act of God, leaving no room for doubt. The people's choice. The people of Israel faced a critical decision: to obey Moses' command and distance themselves or remain with the rebels. This choice reflected more than a matter of physical safety; it was a declaration of loyalty to God and his established authority. The judgment of God, a divine act of justice. The earth opens. As the people followed Moses' command and distanced themselves from the rebels, the dramatic judgment of God took place. As soon as he finished speaking all these words, the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, with their households and all their possessions. Numbers 16:31-32. The earth itself seemed to act as an agent of divine justice, a clear sign that God had rejected Korah, Dathan, and Abiram's rebellion. This was not a natural disaster but a supernatural event, demonstrating God's direct intervention. The terrifying consequences. The earth's swallowing up of the rebels was a terrifying spectacle. It confirmed that God had chosen Moses and Aaron as his leaders, and the rebellion against them was a rebellion against God himself. This act of judgment was not just a punishment for Korah and his followers, it was a public and unmistakable declaration to all of Israel about the seriousness of rejecting God's appointed authority. The aftermath, the fear of the people. The people of Israel, witnessing the destruction of the rebels, were filled with fear. And all Israel around them fled at their cry, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up too." Numbers 16:34. The people recognized the power of God and the severe consequences of challenging his authority. This act of divine justice was meant to be a warning for the entire congregation about the dangers of rebellion and the importance of submitting to God's will. 4. The purification of the congregation. God's judgment not only punished the rebels but also purified the congregation. It served as a reminder that God's holiness and justice cannot tolerate rebellion, and it reinforced the importance of obedience to his commands. The removal of the rebellious leaders was a necessary step for preserving the integrity and unity of the people of Israel. The rebellion of Korah offers us profound lessons about pride, ambition, and the sovereignty of God. By attempting to usurp the roles of Moses and Aaron, Korah revealed the dangers of discontentment and lack of humility. His story reminds us that true authority comes from God, and we must always align ourselves with his will. Moses, in responding with humility and trust in God, teaches us how to act in the face of challenges, demonstrating that divine solutions are always the most just. He shows us the importance of patiently waiting for God's intervention and acting with wisdom. Moreover, the separation of the people of Israel from the rebels symbolizes the need for us to distance ourselves from sin and stay in harmony with God's will. Loyalty to God and rejecting rebellion are fundamental to living a life of obedience and faith. May the story of Korah inspire us to live with more humility, trust in God's judgment and authority, and avoid anything that leads us astray from His plan for us. Thank you for watching Sacred Stories. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe for more deep biblical stories. See you in the next episode.